Good evening. I'm Jelani Cobb, and it's an honor to be here tonight to present the 2021 Paul Selvin Award. Paul Selvin spent a quarter of a century in service to the Writers Guild West as general counsel. Since 1990, the honorary award in his name is given to the WGA member or members whose script best embodies the spirit of constitutional civil rights and civil liberties that are necessary to free writers everywhere, and to which Selvin devoted his professional life. Before I have the privilege of introducing this year's Paul Selvin honorees, I'd like to recognize a giant in our industry who left us in January at the age of 101. The great Walter Bernstein spent his life fighting for truth. He was blacklisted during that dark era when the government used threats, intimidation, and innuendo against him and others to destroy careers and criminalize legal dissent. His films, notably The Front and The Molly Maguires, fought for the rights of common people to stand up against intimidation. Being the recipient of the Guild's first Walter Bernstein Award is one of the great honors of my life. I imagine that Walter would be the first to applaud this year's Paul Selvin Award honorees, the writers of the devastating, brutal, and beautiful film, Judas and the Black Messiah. With a screenplay by Will Berson and Shaka King, story by Berson, King, Kenny Lucas, and Keith Lucas, this searing indictment of the government's role in the murder of Black Panther leader Fred Hampton could not be more relevant to the era of Dejan Kizzy, Trayford Pellerin, David McAtee, Dion Kay, Walter Wallace Jr., Tamir Rice, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, and far too many other victims to name. Black Panther Chairman Fred Hampton was a leader, a soldier, a poet, an inspiration, a revolutionary, gunned down by the FBI half a century ago. His assassination was aided by William O'Neill, the Judas of the tale, who sold his soul and sold out his people for far less than 30 pieces of silver. This screenplay is at once a character study of two very different men, a morality tale, a history lesson, and a shocking indictment of what can happen when a government makes it their goal to suppress the voice of its people. Guided by a clear moral compass, produced with respect for both its subject and its audience, Judas and the Black Messiah is a spectacular example of the ideals and artistic excellence for which the Paul Selvin Award stands. It is my deep honor to present the Writers Guild of America's 2021 Paul Selvin Award to Will Berson, Shaka King, Kenny Lucas, and Keith Lucas. Congratulations.
Thank you, WGA, for this honor. It feels fitting that a movie featuring Fred Hampton's words be honored with an award dedicated to freedom of expression. Chairman Fred Hampton exemplified the vitality and sanctity of free speech, as well as its incredible power, which so threatened the status quo.
But his words did more than the 19th century labor mantra, educate, agitate, organize. Their deepest beauty lay in their capacity to create ideals, coalitions, and praxis. In just the past few years, we've witnessed new legislation targeting Muslim immigrants, gutting the Voting Rights Act, and curtailing the right to protest.
So it's important that we as writers recognize our power and exercise it, even and especially when it may imperil us to do so. On a personal note, we want to thank Chairman Fred Hampton Jr. and Mama Akua for keeping us honest, for allowing us to invite ourselves into your lives, and for entrusting us with the handling of this incredibly important legacy. Again, Writers Guild, we thank you for this recognition.